Have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you were on the outside looking in? How did that make you feel? Hi there, and welcome to Beyond the Shuffle, a podcast where we explore our everyday lives through the lens of tarot. I'm Adrienne Amari, your host, guide, and always there to lend a helping hand. So settle in, open your mind, and let's go beyond the shuffle. On this week's episode, I want to talk about a card that I know a lot of people don't love getting, but it's one that's really worth looking into because when we understand it, when we understand how we can move through it, it can be so powerful. So when is a time in your life where you just felt left out in the cold? Maybe you sent a message to a group chat and you can see people read it, but no one responded. Maybe you found out that your friends all went to something and you weren't invited. Maybe it's moments when you're trying to express yourself or share something and no one is hearing you or listening to what you have to say. Or maybe you've told someone you're fine and they accepted it as is when you really just wanted them to ask if you needed more help. It's an unfortunate, annoying part of life, but it happens, and it's really hard not to have something like that happen to you and then not take it personally. And it's natural for our mind to go wild. Well, they didn't invite me because they don't like me. No one replied because they have a separate group chat and now they're talking about me in it. They must not really care that much because they didn't push the issue knowing that I'm not okay. My ideas must be stupid because nobody's listening. And of course, I'm not saying any of that is true, but it's really easy to go to that place. So what tarot card is this? It's the Five of Pentacles. Now, I know a lot of people think of the Five of Pentacles as poverty, like a loss of resources, illness, sickness, and 100% it can mean those things. And that's totally fair because when we look at the card, it doesn't look like a good time. We have two people which 100% look down on their luck. They're walking in the cold snow. There are no shoes on their feet. They're wrapped in rags. One guy has crutches and a bandage. And what are they walking in front of? Well, we see a stained glass window, which for all intents and purposes is generally seen as a church window, with the Five Pentacles making up a pattern that represents the first 5 spheres of the Tree of Life. So I wouldn't want to be in this position myself at all. It does not look fun. And who wants to be out in the snow in their bare feet, which honestly is kind of like my dog Callie every day as of late because we've gotten so much snow and she refuses to wear boots, but it's not because she doesn't have them. So she won't help herself by wearing boots or allowing me to put them on her, just like the characters in the card won't go into the church and ask for help. So when we look at the Five of Pentacles, it's not generally just about not having enough physical resources. It's also about the effect that that has on us or the reason that we actually get to that point. So that could be a scarcity mindset or a lack mindset. It can be a lack of self-worth or not knowing that it's okay to ask for help. A lot of the time when the Five of Pentacles comes up in a reading, I'll say to someone, hey, you don't really love asking for help, do you? And when I've asked that question, not once in the literally thousands of readings I've done has the person ever said, no, I don't mind asking for help. People usually look at me sheepishly and admit that no, they really don't like asking for help at all. And that really connects with a few different aspects of the card. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is the state of lack and that struggle. So what happens when we get into that Five of Pentacles mindset is that we see everything as a struggle. We don't see opportunities. All we see are hardships and difficulties. And maybe that's a little bit exaggerated. But our brain is wired to see more of what we're looking for. So if we keep telling ourselves that everything is hard, everything is a struggle, we don't have enough of this, we don't have enough of that, then our brain says, cool, you want more proof of that? Let me find it. And it finds it. So it's really easy to get stuck or drawn down into the state of lack that the Five of Pentacles talks about. And I think sometimes too, we can get so deep into that struggle that it really becomes our identity. So we're not sure who we are if we're not struggling. And that's not a comfortable or a great place to be in. I don't want that for you or anyone. But when you're in that, it feels like you've dug yourself a hole so deep that you can't get out because that's all you can see. And that's why such a big element or advice to the Five of Pentacles is ask for the help, ask for that hand to pull yourself up out of the hole. And so many times people don't believe that there is community or a willingness of people out there to help them, but there 100% is. And this actually reminds me of a reading that I did this past summer where the Five of Pentacles came up. And they said to me, I can't ask for help anymore because I feel like all I do is ask, but nobody wants to give. And apparently this had been a cycle that had been going on for a long time. Now we have to remember that the Six of Pentacles does follow the Five. And the Six of Pentacles is about balance and about some kind of exchange. And let's be real, nobody wants to feel taken advantage of. So when people are helping you, give them some kind of energetic exchange. Maybe that's showing gratitude. Maybe that's showing up for them in a way that is easy for you at that time. Maybe you let them talk something out with you. Maybe you help them clean up their place or move something, or just let them know that you're there and available for when they need you to return the favor. And it's not trying to make it a tit for tat kind of thing, but this community, this world that we live in is built on energetic exchanges. And I just think that's worth mentioning. Like even when I was doing free readings all the time and I was getting the same people over and over who only ever showed up when something was free and then didn't support me in any other way, I got so burnt out. And I'm not saying they had to give me all of their riches or their firstborn or anything, even just a like on a post or leaving a comment, some kind of way of saying, hey, I'm here and I support you. So if part of the reason you feel like you can't ask for help is because you don't have anything to give, know that giving can come in so many forms and it can come at a future date. Just make sure that you accept help with good intentions and with gratitude. And when I say that, I want to be careful not to diminish things where people are being manipulative or helping just to get something out of it. I don't mean that we have to be grateful for every bone that we're thrown, especially when it's thrown with ill intent, but I hope you understand my overall message here. So back to the Five of Pentacles. The big question here is, why don't they go in? Why don't they just go into the church, get the help they need, get nice and toasty warm? Why don't we just ask for the help we need? And I think a lot of it comes down to worthiness. And that's what makes the Five of Pentacles so difficult sometimes, because that's a hard thing to bring awareness to and to really want to talk about or think about. We don't ask for help because we feel like we're not worthy, like we don't belong, like no one's going to help us, like we're a burden, like we're broken, like nobody cares. Sometimes we feel like we have to be in a certain place to get help. We have to be fixed or we have to be healed. They're walking out there in the cold thinking, you know what, I'll go in that church once I've stopped shivering. And that's not when we need to ask for help. And when I get people coming for readings that pull this card and sheepishly say, yeah, I don't like asking for help, I always remind them, look, nobody knows you're struggling or how much you're struggling unless you say something. No one can read your mind, and it's not that people don't care, but most people don't sit around thinking about the lives of other people in any great detail, and that's not for selfish reasons, but we all have our own stuff going on. So if we don't speak up when we need help, if we don't say something, a lot of the time it just goes under the radar. And some people would argue, well, maybe they should be paying more attention. Well, maybe you should also be an adult and ask for the help you need when you need it, period. And again, I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do. It can be really difficult to step outside of that comfort zone. And the Five of Pentacles isn't encouraging us to bring people down into the misery with us, but it is saying that you don't have to struggle alone. So we've talked about the lack mindset. We've talked about the struggle in the Five of Pentacles and when we don't feel worthy enough to accept the help. But there's also the scarcity mindset that goes along with it, that we don't have enough. So instead of focusing on what we do have, we really just drill down on what we don't have, what everyone else around us has, and what we're missing. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough energy. I don't have a good enough job or a nice enough house. And because we're focusing on what we don't have enough of, we miss out on the doing because we feel sad and broken. We feel that because we don't have these things, we don't have worth. And when you lay it out logically like that, of course, you're like, no, that's not true. I know I still have good qualities and, good things going for me. But I think so much of the time when we get into that mindset of the Five of Pentacles, a lot of the rational, logical thought can kind of go out the window. And what so often comes with this scarcity mindset is we accept less than we deserve. And it's really interesting because that Four of Pentacles that comes before the Five is clinging. He's hanging on to everything he has. Somehow he's lost it all to get to the Five of Pentacles. And the question is it because he was hanging on to scraps to begin with? Is it because he didn't invest in himself because he didn't think he was worth it? And it's so easy to fall into this trap. Like, how many of us have stayed in a relationship or a job where we knew we weren't really being treated well, but we figured it's better to be in it and have it because if I don't have this, then I don't have enough. I have lost. I'm missing out. How many times have you not done something because you think, well, I'll never get it or they don't want me there anyways? How many times have you left yourself out of something just so that nobody else could do it for you? So while the Five of Pentacles can be these really deep wounds of struggle, scarcity, and lack, so much of the time they manifest physically, and that's where we really feel them first. And that's why I think this card is so perfect as a pentacle, because pentacles are the resources. It's the physical realm. So again, yes, that can be money, but that's also energy and your body and your health. And I don't know about you, but when I get in a rut of feeling crummy about myself and get into this kind of state of worthlessness, which luckily hasn't happened for a while, but I think we've all gone through periods in our lives where we do go through this. So maybe you're in that right now. How often do you feel good and energetic, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed? Probably not very often, because it's draining and it's physically exhausting to be stuck in that lack energy. And it can show up in really interesting ways. Like, for example, if you always buy the cheapest thing, not because that's all you can afford, but that's all you think that you're really worth of having. It can be sitting in the very back of the room, not wanting to be seen, thinking that you don't belong wherever you are. It can be apologizing for simply existing and taking up space. All of that can be Five of Pentacles energy manifesting in the real world. And that's not to say every moment of those things means that you are in a lack mindset or that you don't have any self-worth. I don't want it to sound like that. But it definitely is something to look for and to bring awareness to. So a lot of that feels sad and heavy, and it can feel hopeless with the Five of Pentacles, but there is a bright side. There is still that church window shining brightly. And I always kind of laugh at myself because in readings I often say, what are churches known for? And then I think right away in my head, probably shouldn't be asking that question. But really, a church is often seen as a symbol of sanctuary, of community, of help. So the Five of Pentacles is a reminder that, again, there is help there. There is community there. All you have to do is go in that door. Another thing to do with the Five of Pentacles is to give yourself a break and get a little bit of rest. A lot of the time it comes up because we keep pushing. We don't ask for the help that we need. We just give into the struggle and we think, I'm just going to keep pushing because if I don't, then everything will fall apart. And then we get to the point of the Five of Pentacles when our energy and our resources are depleted. So it can just be a reminder to take care of your physical body, to take care of your finances, to make sure that you don't utterly deplete your resources, because that's not going to make you feel better about any situation. I think a lot of the time we keep pushing because we associate productivity and helpfulness, even to our detriment, with being worthy. We sometimes attribute spending money with happiness or feeling good about ourselves, even when we don't really have it to spend. And I am totally guilty of that, so 100% no judgment there. But when the Five of Pentacles comes up, I want you to ask yourself, where am I struggling? How can I ask for help? And what can I do for myself to help ease the burden? And some days that might just be a nice long bubble bath, or going to bed early, or not spending money on takeout and taking that $20 and setting it aside for a rainy day. And I don't know if this helps anyone, but I always find solace in this. Your struggles are not unique. You are not the only human in the history of the universe that has gone through what you're going through. And I always say to people, I think humans are scrappy. We'll figure it out. We'll continue to push through. And when the Five of Pentacles comes up, either help yourself or get the help you need so that you can help yourself get out of that hole. And while this isn't the deck that I'm using for our reading today, I did want to mention it because I think it's a really cool representation of the Five of Pentacles, and you will be able to see a photo of the card in the show notes at adrianamari.com/podcast. But the Tarot of the Holy Spectrum has the Five of Pentacles as one guy digging himself in a hole, and he's thinking about all the pentacles. He already has a pile of pentacles behind him, but he keeps on digging, wanting more, thinking not enough, not enough, not enough. And he's so deep in the hole that it's pretty much up to his shoulders. And there's someone at the top of the hole kind of just peering in, watching over him, watching him dig himself in this hole. But he can't even see the person behind him because he's so intent on looking for more. I think that's such a cool way to represent the Five of Pentacles, so make sure you go take a look at it. Now, before we get to our collective reading, and if you're hearing this before the weekend of January 30th, and if you are looking for more community, more in the intuitive, spiritual, metaphysical space, make sure you join us this weekend for the big Oracle Fest online. On Friday, I'll be on a panel about how to read tarot and oracle cards, and I'll also be participating in the live readings on Friday evening, but the whole weekend is jam-packed with amazing topics and even more amazing speakers. It's all happening online. Tickets start at $44 Canadian for the whole weekend, and you can find out more either on my website, adrianamari.com, or at oraclefest.com. So for today's collective reading, we're going to do a pick a card from the Tarot by Caro. And again, you can always see photos of the cards pulled in the show notes. But before you do, make sure you pick your number so you're not influenced. But our question today is, what lit window or opportunity, because I wanted to keep in with the Five of Pentacles theme, but what lit window am I currently walking past because I'm too focused on my struggle? So again, go ahead and pick a number that you feel called to. It'll be either number 1, 2, or 3. And once again, the question is, what lit window am I currently walking past because I'm focused on my struggle? So if you need a minute to feel what number you're called towards, of course, take a second to pause, but we'll jump right in. So we'll start with number 1. If you chose number 1, your card is Strength. And this just tells me that you are not seeing the inner strength, the inner courage, the fortitude that you have within you to deal with what life throws your way. You're focused maybe on what you're struggling with or what's difficult, not the power that you have within. Strength is a card of compassion, of kindness. So instead of being so hard on yourself, tune into those emotions, because this shows me that you are kind and you are compassionate to other people. Make sure that you're turning that within. And if you're worried about people feeling upset or burdened if you ask them for help, Strength tells me that that will not happen. You give them kindness, you give them compassion, and they are 100% willing to do the same for you. So instead of thinking that you can't do it, that you're not strong enough, that you're not confident enough, know that you are. Just bring that inner lion out. Give him a few pets because we don't want him biting anybody's heads off, but be gentle yet strong with yourself to know that you've got this. All right, if you chose number 2, your card is Judgment. Judgment tells me that you're probably in the same place or a similar place to where you've been before, because you're not taking time to really reflect on your journey, on where you've been and what got you into the position that you're currently in. You're focused so much on what's difficult or where you're struggling that you're not seeing the patterns that you're repeating that get you into this position. And if you are seeing them, then you're not breaking them. You're not choosing otherwise when you get a chance to do so. And with this card, I would wonder if part of your struggle is based on feelings of shame or guilt, where you feel like you have to make up or atone for something. And just remember that the only person that really has to forgive you is yourself. You can apologize to someone and they don't owe you anything. They don't owe you forgiveness. But if you want to break patterns and get out of a state of struggle, you have to give yourself grace and forgive yourself first. Judgment's also a card of following your calling. So I would assume with this that sometimes we're giving so much into this struggle that we're not actually living or making choices that are aligned with the life we want to be leading. And I'm not saying every choice is like that, but when we do get into a struggle, a scarcity, or a lack mindset, and it might only be in one area of life, we do tend to not make choices that are necessarily for our best or our highest self. We make choices to get out of that scarcity, which doesn't always pull us out. Sometimes it digs us deeper in. So give yourself some time to sit down, to reflect, to evaluate, to see where you're repeating the same patterns, and then take a hammer to them and start breaking. Because judgment says that there's a new door opening. You just have to be willing to go through it. And last but not least, if you chose number 3, you got the Chariot. So for you, you are so focused on your struggle that you're not allowing your willpower and your determination to come to the surface. You are repressing them. You're letting them stay buried inside you when they are just eager to come out and to show you that you've got this. You know where you want to go. You know what your destination is. But instead of putting pedal to the metal and going for it, you're just driving around the back roads in the dark thinking that you're lost. The Chariot shows that you have so much power within you if you could just take some of that energy and dedicate it to your destination. And I know it's not an easy thing to do. None of these are easy things to do, but you have that within you to do it. With the Chariot, I would assume that there's a stubborn streak there as well, and that's a blessing and a curse, because a stubborn streak can be great when we're trying to get something done and when we're really sitting in a position of power where we're like, yes, I've got this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get there, come hell or high water. But when we're in a position of struggle, then we get the stubborn streak of, well, everything's so difficult, I can't do this, I'm not good enough anyway, it's never going to happen to me, and that can be a hard thing to give up. So use some of that willpower, use that focus to take that Chariot and pull yourself out of the hole and towards where you really want to be. Because if you don't let anything get in your way, it won't. If you have to run it over, metaphorically, run it over. So that was a little intense, but I love it. Was definitely not expecting to get 3 major arcana cards for that question, but that's what the universe wanted to deliver. I hope the number that you chose resonated and gave you some helpful insights. And please remember, if you're enjoying this podcast, make sure you subscribe, give it a like wherever you love to listen to podcasts. And know that you can always send me a message on Instagram or Facebook at Beyond the Shuffle Podcast, or send me an email at beyondtheshuffle@adrianamari.com. Thank you so much for being here. If improving your self-worth and really feeling good about who you are and the life you're stepping into is something that you're looking for, please reach out. I offer tarot readings and clarity coaching that can both really help with this, and I would love to help you feel great about your life. As always, thank you for listening. I'll catch you next week, and until then, stay open, stay curious, and remember, you're enough just as you are.